O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hello everybody, I want to welcome you back to God, Family, and Trapping. I know it's been a little bit since I've had a podcast up. There's been a lot going on. I'm going to share some of that with you guys today. This won't be a very long podcast because I just got some things I got to get done today. But anyways, I appreciate everybody that's listened to the podcast in the past. People that's reached out to me talking about the podcast and how they appreciated it and they liked it. So, that really means a lot when you guys take the time to reach out to me. I appreciate it. There's just been a lot going on. I've made some changes in my life. So I've posted a little bit on Facebook about it. Not really made there's some people that know, but I've not really made it too public yet. But, I'm going to go ahead and use this podcast to say it out loud to everybody. But anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. So today, like I said, I don't really have any topics that I'm going to talk about today. I don't have anything written down or anything like that. Just kind of talking off the top of my head here, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update on what's been going on, where I've been, and all that stuff. I think it's been probably a little over 2 months since I've had a podcast episode out. I trapped about 2.5 weeks in December. I believe it was about 2.5 weeks. I did pretty decent for the amount of traps I had. I only had a dozen traps out or so. Ended up catching 5 coyotes. 2 of them had really bad mange. We caught a handful of raccoons and possums and stuff like that. A couple skunks. So it was pretty fun. I love trapping, so it was fun. I ended up setting my traps off because I was going to see the surgeon, and I believe that when I seen him, I was going to have surgery the next day or two. So I believe it was a Tuesday when I popped my traps, and I seen the surgeon on Wednesday, and they told me that if I was going to have surgery, it'd probably be Thursday or Friday. So I went ahead and popped my traps on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I went and seen the surgeon, and he ended up deciding he wanted to send me to a specialist in Springfield. And I said, okay, we can do that, that's fine. And I was like, well, we'll get hold of them and see when we can schedule an appointment with them. So we called them when we got home on Wednesday, and we ended up getting an appointment. I believe it was like a week and a half after we'd seen my other surgeon that we got that appointment in Springfield. So we went up there and seen him, and they scheduled me surgery for January 20th because that was the earliest appointment they had. So I was like, well, I'm going to give it a couple weeks because it's supposed to start snowing and stuff like that, and I'll go set my traps back out. Well, then it was a couple weeks after that, my daughter had surgery. She had to go have some surgery on her teeth. So we had to go to Kansas for that. And after that, I ended up, my wound that I was going to have surgery done on got infected again. So I was sick for a couple of days for that. And then we started getting some pretty bad storms, some snow and rain and stuff like that. And I wasn't going to go try to trap in, the mud. So we come to about the middle of January, and I ended up getting sick again. And then about a week before I was supposed to have surgery with the specialist, we got a letter in the mail that insurance had dropped me again. So we was not able to have surgery. We tried for about a week to get insurance back, and we just couldn't really get a hold of anybody. They kept telling us to do different things, and I mean, you guys know how it is. It's a run around all the time. So we had to call and cancel surgery the Friday before surgery. Told them that I didn't have insurance, that they had dropped me, so I couldn't have surgery. They wanted to set me up on a payment plan to pay it out, but it's $16,000. I'm like, well, I don't have $16,000 to pay for a surgery, so I was not able to have surgery in January like I wanted, which really sucked because I've been dealing with this wound for a year and a half now, a little over a year and a half, and it's very tiring. It takes a lot out of me. It makes it to where I can't do a lot. Basically, what happened is I had an abscess a year and a half ago, and I had to have surgery to have it removed. It was on the between the back of my thigh and my butt cheek. It was right in that area. So I couldn't really do anything for about a week until I finally went to the emergency room and had surgery, and they had to cut it out. They told me it was about the size of a baseball. They had to cut a lot out, and I had a big hole that I had to wear a wound pump for 8 months, and we went to wound care for 8 or 9 months, and I had 2 more surgeries after that. The second surgery ended up not taking, and that's why I'm needing surgery again. But then insurance dropped me, so I'm not able to do it. Basically what happens is the wound, it's basically I have like a fistula, and the wound will build up it'll form an abscess basically. So for like 3 or 4 days I'll be in like pain where I can't do much, and then it'll drain for 2 or 3 days. Well, then I can't do anything because of that, and then I'll be good for about 4 days where it's not draining, it's not hurting, and I'm good and I feel like I can do whatever, and then it'll start building up the abscess again. So it's like a 10-day cycle to where I just keep going through the same thing, and we're here we are in March and still working on insurance, trying to get insurance done, and it's just we haven't been able to get it done yet. I'm looking at other options of how to get health insurance so I can get this taken care of. So it's that's been a huge strain on us the last couple months for sure. But it's been a year and a half I've been dealing with this. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to trap very much. Between that and we've had some crazy weather this year. We've gotten more snow than we normally do. So it's just the weather's not been good, and I've been dealing with that, and I just haven't been able to trap, and I kept wanting to get back out, and I just never could get it done. And then not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, we was coming home from church. My mom was leaving church, and she called me saying that she had hit something on the road, that she had 2 flat tires. So me, the wife, and the kids load up in my truck, and we drive down there to help her. And basically where we're at, there's a whole bunch of bluff rock along the highway, like bluffs. Well, a rock or something rolled out of the bluff into the road that she hit. It exploded and went all over the road, but it caused her to have 2 flat tires, both her tires on the driver's side. So there was a couple church members that got to her before I did. One of them ended up having a flat because of the rock. So I had to I helped them change the tire on the car. Then we had to wait for the wrecker truck to come get my mom's car. And at this point there's like 4 inches of snow on the ground. So I'm in the ditch standing in the snow. just wearing tennis shoes because I wasn't planning on being in the snow, trying to change a tire on a hill in a ditch at night. So we finally got that done, and we were going to follow the tow truck home because the tow truck was bringing my mom's car to my house to put in the shop. So we were following the tow truck home, and we get to the stoplight right before our dirt road. Our dirt road goes straight into Highway 71, which is the main highway that comes through our area. It's a 4-lane highway. And our dirt road connects to that. So we got to turn straight from that onto our dirt road. And we got a stoplight about a quarter mile before our dirt road. And right when I get halfway between the stoplight and my dirt road, I always turn my blinker on. And I start getting over on the shoulder. Because, there's been people rear-ended or hit there before. And I know some people just don't pay attention when they're driving. So that's what I've always done. So I put my blinker on. I start getting over in the shoulder where I'm kind of, halfway in the outside lane, halfway on the shoulder. And I look in my rearview mirror and I see a car coming. And I'm like, all right, they're going to get over. They got plenty of time. So I just start, going a little closer to the road, slowing down a little more. I'm probably going, 25 at this point. I look up and that car's still behind me, and I can tell that it's going quite a bit faster than I'm going. I'm like, alright, whatever. It's about to get over, so I slow down some more. And I'm getting down to where I'm probably going 10 or 15 miles an hour, just about to turn. And I happen to look up, and I can see the car is probably 40, 50 feet behind me, and I can tell it's doing at least 5 or 6 times the speed that I'm going. So I let off the brake, and I give my truck gas real quick to try to turn and get out of the way. Well, she ends up hitting the truck. And so at this point, I'm going probably 15 miles an hour. And I'm guessing she's going around 80 to 90 miles an hour because she was going well over the speed limit. I drive a 3/4 ton Dodge diesel Cummins that is, it's got like a 5 or 6 inch lift on it with 35-inch tires. It's a big truck. Like, it's a beast of a truck. Well, she hit us hard enough that it swung the rear end of my truck around to a 180, put the truck up on 2 wheels, and we ended up going through a ditch and popping up out of the ditch and hitting a rock in a propane tank. So my truck probably went about 75 feet, I'm guessing, after she hit us. She threw my truck that far. We were all fine. Couple bumps and bruises, nothing severe, but totaled my truck. I actually just had the appraiser here that come and took pictures of it. That's been a long process, a week and a half it's been, and they finally got an appraiser out here to take pictures of my truck. But yeah, it's totaled. It was the only vehicle we had. My wife's car that she had, the motor went out on it, so we ended up having to hurry and get my truck fixed up last year so we could run the last 2 conventions in Oklahoma and Iowa. So we were down to the truck being our only vehicle, and then that lady hit us. She was on her phone, not paying attention, arguing with her husband on the phone and trying to find a picture on her phone for her daughter, and just not paying attention at all, and hit us, hard. If you have me on Facebook, you've seen the pictures. I got some more of my truck that I'm going to post. But it was definitely a crazy experience. But, God was with us for sure, because there's so many ways that should have went real bad, and it didn't. We just had a couple bruises and bumps, and that's it. I think the lady's daughter broke her foot, but other than that, I don't believe they had any injuries. So, it could have and probably even should have been a lot worse than it was as far as injuries go, but I do believe that, God was with us, and, that's who protected us. I believe God had an angel in the truck with us that protected us, because I told my wife if we would have been in any other vehicle that, we'd probably still be in the hospital, if not, if we didn't even make it there, because as hard as she hit us, if we'd have been in any other vehicle, we would have flipped for sure. We would have rolled over. My truck is base. That truck's 9,000 pounds with that 5.9 Cummins motor in it. Plus, it's got a lift and oversized tires and all that stuff. So there's a lot more weight added to it with that also. So yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it's part of life. I'm glad that God protected us and we didn't get hurt. But that was our only vehicle, so we had to borrow a vehicle from a church member. And then one of my good friends that actually is a church member too, he's an elder of our church, said that he had an extra vehicle that he would sell us real cheap. And me and my brother had worked on the vehicle before having the auto mechanic shop. When we had it open, we had worked on the car, so I knew what vehicle it was. So I told him I was definitely interested. Me and my wife would go look at it. So we went and looked at it, and I ended up trading a few guns that I had for it. Because, we just didn't have the money to buy it. And so we made a deal where, I just traded him 3 of my guns for it. So now we have a vehicle. It's, it's just a little Ford Fusion, but, it's getting my family around the way we need to get around for now. Hoping that insurance get figured out and we can go buy a more suitable vehicle for my family. But at this point, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to get the car. I'm glad that God kept us safe. I really do feel like I've been a very blessed man, very blessed person. So I mean, I know I'm rambling on about myself a lot. Hope you guys don't mind, but this is kind of just some things that have been on my mind, and I've been thinking about doing a podcast episode. Everything's been so crazy. I've been trying to get to it, so here I am. I'm doing the podcast, and, the big change that I made in my life is it's been about a month ago, not quite a month, maybe a little over a month, when I actually made the decision to do it. But for the last 3 years, I've always been a Christian. I went to church when I was a little kid. I grew up in church. I went to a church school. And then kind of when I got to be 15, 16, I got out of church, and I just kind of did the dumb things that teenagers do. And for about 4 or 5 years, I just got away from it and did dumb stuff. And then I believe I was 19... 18 or 19 when I met when me and my wife got together. We've known each other because we grew up in church together, and I think I was 18 or 19 when we first got together, and then we got married in 2015. This year is going to be our 10-year anniversary. We started going to church again, and it's just one of those things you did on Sundays. You went to church, and that's just kind of how I grew up, and that's what we did. We went to church on Sunday, and I never really did have a close relationship with God. I never read my Bible. Just nothing. I just, it was church on Sunday, and that's kind of what I did. I was saved, born again. But that's as far as I ever took it, really, was going to church on Sunday. Never really thought too much more of it than that. There were some times that knowing now, I can look back and I can tell that, God was calling me to do things, asking me to do things, and I just never realized it and never paid attention. And then when our first daughter, Mackenzie, was born in 2020, we had started going to a new church, and this church was different than any church I'd ever went to. We were gotten real close to a lot of people in the church, and I'd gotten where I was starting to read my Bible here and there, and starting to slowly, build that relationship, that personal relationship with God. And I just knew that I needed to do more for my kids. I needed to be a better person, better man, better example, everything. And then I would say that, I slowly, gradually worked on it. And when Haley was born in 2023, that's when I was like, again, that's when I was like, I really... And these are things that I didn't really notice at the time, but looking back now, I can see it. But when Haley was born, that's when I was like, I really need to make some changes. I haven't drank alcohol now, and I don't know. I know a lot of people know the exact day, but it's been roughly 2 years since I've drank any alcohol. And I've just been working at becoming a better man. And then about February last year, there was some things that came up in the church that we was going to. And, there was a few of us that, had been talking, and, we knew something had to change in the church. There was, some things that weren't right, and just some things that needed to change. And there was about 10, 12 of us, I believe, that started talking about some things that we didn't like, that we wanted to change, and these are like biblical things that we didn't see that were correct. We didn't like the way that some people were being treated, and, there was about a dozen of us that started talking. Well, that dozen turned into about 40 or 50 people within a week. And we decided to have kind of a meeting, what do we all plan to do type thing. And there was probably about 25 or 30 of us there. And, there was quite a few. There was about 6 to 8 people at that meeting that we were good friends with, that went to church together for a while, that had already quit going to the church because of these reasons. And we decided that, we were just going to open up a church, to start a whole new church, and we were going to do it biblically, the way that God intended, the way that we're instructed to in the Bible. We was going to do it exactly how that says. We was going to keep that as good as we can, and just, try to do it right, and to teach right, and to have the right people in the right positions, and to just, do better than where we came from. So through this process, I had really started to study in the Bible more and to read more. And, I was reading stories that I knew when I was a kid that, I'd forgotten about. And it was just, reading the story took me back to when I was a kid, reading the story about the floating axe head in the river. I knew that story from when I was a kid. I hadn't heard it in 20 years. So when I read it, that just took me back. And it's I know all this. All this is in my heart. I know it. I just haven't been paying attention to it. So for the last, I'd say probably February, March of last year to about November of last year, I had slowly started building my relationship with God. I started reading my Bible, just what I thought was as often as I could. I try to read it, a couple of times a week. Started helping out in church more. And then in December, I'd say about Christmas time, things started feeling a little different. I felt like there was something else I needed to do. I'm not doing something. There's just something I needed to do, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I've prayed about it, and thought about it, and kind of discussed it with a couple of people in the church. And then one day it just hit me I think, God's calling me for more. And that's when I decided to not join, but to attend an online college, a Bible college, to help me learn more. Not even, I want to get a degree and I want to further myself with that degree, but I want to learn the Bible more. I want to understand it more. And I do believe the more I understand it, I need to start teaching what I can understand, and teaching what the Bible can do for others and to help others the best way that I can. I'm just one person. I'm nobody. Like, I'm just a guy that, owns a couple trapping businesses, that used to own an outdoor store, that used to be a chef. I'm just another probably less than average guy that's nothing. And this is what I feel God's calling me to do. I don't know if He's just calling me to be a teacher, or if He's calling me to be an evangelist, or calling me to be a pastor. That's something that I'm going to pray about, and I'm going to let God guide me to the place that He wants me to be. But at this point, I've been going to a Bible college now. I've been taking classes for about 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks now. I've been doing courses. I've been reading my Bible every single day. Doesn't matter how tired I am, doesn't matter what's going on. I sit down, I read my Bible. I have a little notebook that I keep track of what I read, what days I read, and that kind of created a goal for me. So I know, hey, I read 8 chapters yesterday. I need to try to read at least, 6 to 8 today. And I'll read, 8 more. And then tomorrow it's like, wow, I need to read 10 or 12. And it's like a goal that I keep reading more and more every day. And then I write, I can write the date down that I wrote I can write the date down, what chapters I read, and then any verses that stuck out to me, I'll highlight them, and then I'll put that verse in the notebook. So later on, I can look back at this notebook, and I can see how long it took me to read through the Bible, what verses, stuck out to me. I can look back at all the verses that stuck out to me, or anything like that. That's just kind of what I've been doing. I'm trying to change my life the best I can, trying to become a better man. I feel like I have improved quite a bit over the last couple of years. I still got a long ways to go. Just trying to be a better husband, better father. I'm just trying to be a better person for everybody. Like I said, I'm a nobody. That's who I am. I'm just trying to do right by my family. I want to be a good role model for my kids. And this is what I believe God's calling me to do now. And it's been a crazy journey so far. I kind of announced it at church a while back, and a lot of people are praying for me and my family. And I know Satan's gonna try to stop it the best he can, because the day that I announced it to the church that I'd started Bible college and that I was taking classes to become a teacher or a preacher or whatever God wanted me to do, that's the night that we got hit coming home from church. And I do believe that Satan was trying to take that from me. But I keep my Bible in my truck. I have a whole nother Bible that I keep in my truck at all times. And that night I happened to have the Bible that I read and study out of. I had it sitting on the center console and had it under my arm like I always do when I'm driving. And I believe God saved us that night, because everybody I've talked to said that, it's amazing that we weren't hurt. It's amazing that, we're even here, really. And I do believe that no matter what you do, that Satan is going to try to attack you and take everything he can from you. But I believe if you pray and you keep your faith in God, that God's going to show you that he is way stronger than Satan is. Satan don't have nothing on God. Satan is very powerful. He is very strong. He knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to get in your heart, and he knows how to make your heart black. But I'm telling you, all you need is that little bit of faith, a little bit of prayer, and God's going to help you overcome anything. Doesn't matter what it is. I know that if you grab your Bible and you read it and you pray, God's going to be there and he's going to help you through whatever you're going through. Doesn't matter if it's an addiction, if it's a sickness, if it's a loss of job. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, there's been a lot going on. About a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, there was a lady on our fire department. She's been on the fire department a little longer than I have. We had a call about a year and a half ago that was really, really rough, that involved an infant that did not make it. And that call was really hard on her. And I know she struggled with it because the trainings and the calls and stuff that we went on after that, she was never quite the same as she was before. And since about a little over a month ago, she made the decision to take her own life. And that was hard on a lot of people. It's still hard. But, like I told her, it's like I've told people, her husband is a friend of mine, it's on the fire department also. I told him, our assistant chief, which is my good friend that I actually got the call from, he told him that, right now is the time that you need your faith more than anything. You need to trust in God. You need to come to church. And the day he came to church was also the day that we got hit. And he was on the call. He helped. He came to the call and helped when we got hit. And I told him, I said, it was really good to see you in church today. I really hope to see you back. If you need anything, you can always reach out. Then there was a whole nother wreck 30 minutes after mine that took the lives of 3 people that the people in our fire department worked. And they said that since they've been on the department, it was the worst wreck that they've worked so far. So, like I said, there's been a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. Life is crazy. Life is fast. Satan's working. He's always working. His favorite things are, alcohol, drugs, money, pride. Those are his favorite things. Because it's so easy to control somebody with those things. He loves them. And if you just pray and put a little time in God and have faith, God's going to help you overcome that. No matter what it is, no matter if it's sickness, if it's an injury, or if you're like me, you're needing to have a surgery done because it's affecting your life and you lost insurance and you can't get it done. Just keep praying, keep your faith in God. He's going to help you through it. Anyway, like I said, this wasn't going to be long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I kind of just talked about myself a lot, but I'm going to try to do more podcasts. I'm also going to get an area set up in one of my shops to where I can record like video and post it onto YouTube, because I got a notification that the podcast app that I use no longer will let you share it on YouTube. So I'm going to have an area set up to where I can video, so you guys will be able to watch me talk as I do this also. Which, you know, when I listen to podcasts or watch podcasts, I would much rather watch a podcast than listen to it. If I can, and it's not even that big of a difference, but just seeing the people talk, seeing the emotions in their face, their eyes, their hands, the way they're moving their arms, that emotion that you see in their face and their hands, and that makes what you're hearing so much stronger. And I just enjoy that more. So hopefully before long I can have an area set up to where I can do that. I can have my laptop and my microphone and all that set up, and I can have my cell phone recording to where I can share it onto YouTube. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for listening. I hope that, you know, there's something that I've said that's helped somebody. You know, if I can do this podcast for 10 years and it helps one person, it was worth it. All of it was worth it. All the time I put into it, all the effort, if it helps one person, it's worth it. And also, if you guys have anything that you want to talk to me about, you have any prayer requests, anything like that, reach out to me on Facebook, Jamie Blakely, or you can look up any of my business pages, Blakely's Trapping, The Trapper's Pole, Blakely's Baits and Lures, or you can send me an email at blakelystrapping@gmail.com. And if you want to do an email, that's the email, blakelystrapping@gmail.com. Or you can even go to my website, and they have a contact spot on the website. You can go there and you can message me through that also. So yeah, don't feel weird if you want to, you know, look me up on Facebook, send me a message. That's perfectly fine with me. I don't mind. No, I love hearing from you guys. Whatever you have to say, even if it's bad, I don't care. If you think if there's something I can do with this podcast that you think would help it out a little better, send it to me. Let me know. You know, good or bad, I don't care. I just like hearing from you guys. And also, if you guys have any prayer requests that you would like me to pray with you guys about, or, you know, I will definitely pray on my own time about them, or I can even mention them at church and have my whole church pray for them. One of my buddies in Ethan that lives in Iowa, I got to meet last year through going to trapping conventions. He was in an accident last week where he was on a four-wheeler and a car hit him, and he ended up getting life-flighted and had a lot of injuries. But since he's got to come home, I believe he came home yesterday, and I've been praying for him and his family. My church has been praying for him and his family. So if you guys ever have anything, feel free to reach out to me. I do have a Bible verse that I want to read to you guys. It's just one verse that I want to read to you guys. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 31. Chapter 31, verse 6. It's, "Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee." So all I'm going to say is keep your faith in God. You know, it says in the Bible, you know, the faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. There's a song that's out right now. It's called "Because Somebody Prayed" by Crowder. If you've not heard it, I would highly suggest you to look it up and listen to it. and you might have to listen to it 5 or 6, 7, 8 times before you can fully intake everything he says in that. But I can tell you right now, I heard that song on the radio 6 or 7 times, and I could tell the song was different than all the other ones that was playing on the radio. This is a Christian radio. But I hadn't really taken the time to listen to it. One day, I was in the truck by myself. I think I was driving to Bible study, and it came on. And I listened to each word of it. And it was like that was the first time I had actually even heard that song. Because I listened to it, I heard the words, and it's like when I heard the words, I knew exactly what they meant. I knew exactly what he was talking about. And since then, I've watched the video on YouTube many times, and I listened to it, and now I can't listen to that song without crying, because it's an awesome song. So, I would highly suggest for you to look up Because Somebody Prayed by Crowder. It's a very great song, and very good song, and I believe that it could definitely help everybody. Music is a great way to change your mood, but it's also something that if you listen to the wrong music, it can put your mind in the wrong spot. I'm not gonna tell people they shouldn't listen to certain music, but I know there's a lot of songs that when I hear them, especially country songs, when I hear them, it reminds me of when I, would go drinking and do stuff like that, and then, that's not who I want to be today. So I've gotten to where I don't want to really listen to country music anymore, because I hear that song and I really like that song, but that song will remind me of things that I don't want to be reminded of. So I kind of just try to stay clear from them. But anyways, if you guys have anything that you want to talk to me about or ask me, or if you just have any reviews, feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, any of my Facebook pages, even my personal page. You can go to my website, BlakelyStrapping.com. You can reach out to me on that, or anything. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I will say a prayer before I close out. I hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast. Like I said, if you have any comments or anything like that, please let me know. I appreciate it. Lord, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here today. I know there's been a lot of things that have happened in my life that, could have very easily ended my life, and I'm glad that you were there that day to help me out. I've started a new journey in my life with you, and I can feel you in my life more and more every day. I can see you working in my life more and more every day, and I really appreciate it. Lord, I promise to keep my faith in you, that I completely believe everything that you've done is true. I know you sent your own Son on the world to save us. And, that's the greatest sacrifice that anybody could ever imagine doing. I just want to thank you for that, Lord. And Lord, I want to ask you to be with everybody listening to this podcast. That if they're struggling with anything, going through anything, that you can be there beside them while they go through it. That you can help carry them through their struggles. And you can help guide them through things that they need help with. Just please be with them, Lord. And if there's anybody out there that doesn't know you, that, maybe they come across this podcast and they listen to it, Lord, just please be with them and help place somebody in their life that can help them understand you more. And just please give them the opportunity to come closer to you, Lord, and help them have the understanding of why they need to, Lord. I thank you. I appreciate you, everything you've done for me. I definitely would not be here today if it wasn't for you. If it wasn't for all the people praying for me. I really appreciate it, Lord. I want to ask you to be with everybody that's listening to this podcast and help them through anything they're going through. Whether they're going through a sickness or their family's going through a sickness or a struggle or anything like that, just please be with them, Lord. In Jesus' name I ask. Amen.